Pennsylvania Railroad 440 number 1223 is my favorite standard gauge steam locomotive that is on static display, and would more than likely be my favorite standard gauge steam locomotive overall if she was operational. She is a Pennsylvania Railroad D16 SB 440, built in 1905 by the Pennsylvania Railroad's own Juniata shops in Altoona, Pennsylvania, and pulled passenger trains for years. These 440s were some of the most modern of the 440s ever built. Even when she was built, she was outdated, and eventually she was retired from passenger service and replaced by larger E6 442 Atlantics and K4 462 Pacifics, among other types of passenger locomotives on the Pennsylvania Railroad. So she was rebuilt with smaller drive wheels and put onto freight trains eventually. Eventually, number 1223 was leased to the Baltimore, Chesapeake, and Atlantic Railway, and eventually she was set to be scrapped by the Pennsylvania Railroad. However, luck was on the engine's side, and she was rebuilt and preserved, and from the 1930s to the 1950s, she was put on display at several railroad fairs. In 1950, she was put into storage in a roundhouse, and she sat cold in the house until 1960, when the Strasburg Railroad leased her and restored her to operation. She made her first run on the Strasburg Railroad in 1965. The engine ran an excursion service for the Strasburg Railroad for several years, and in 1979 the engine was placed on the National Register of Historic Places, and in 1983 1223 would be reunited with Pennsylvania Railroad 442 Atlantic number 7002, and the two would run alongside each other for a few years, sometimes pulling double-header trains on the main line in 1985 and 1986. Sadly, 1223's last run was in October of 1989, when it was discovered that the engine's firebox metal was dangerously thin, and she had to be retired for good. The same thing was discovered in 7002, and both were sent to the Railroad Museum of Pennsylvania across the street from the Strasburg Railroad, who owned the engines, and did not want to have the restoration work done on them. Both engines are now on display indoors facing each other and are beautifully preserved. I hope that 1223 and maybe even 7002 can run again someday, but unfortunately that seems unlikely at this point. These are some videos that I've taken of a replica of 1223 that runs at the Ridge Live Steamers in Dundee, Florida. Unfortunately, this is probably the closest that I will ever get to seeing this locomotive operate. My first visit to the Strasburg Railroad was in 1991, and so I sadly missed her when she was operating for the railroad.
Okay, here. Too big a load, I'm telling you. You're wasting your time.
I'm going to have a lot of time to waste if we don't get going soon. Fill her up, will you? I'll give us some sand. Too big a load, huh?
for you. You're the only man on this line that knows enough about this kettle to coax her through.
Coach us through. Well, we'll be on time if you don't pass out on me first. Come on, fill her up, fill her up.
Got a full head of her now. She'll blow her plate.
So what? You're in short, ain't you?
I'm proud of you to toes the road. You know your business.
I sure do. And a little bit of everybody else's. Well, good luck.
Good luck to you. Hope you have a nice vacation.
I think I will now.
Yes.
I also own an original Pennsylvania Railroad steam locomotive bell. This bell has two different locomotive numbers stamped on the top of the bell. I've been able to find information on four different locomotives owned by the Pennsylvania Railroad that had these numbers. So there are two options for this bell. First is that it was originally on an 1890 D10A 440 number 7175, a older version of the D16 locomotive that was featured in this video, number 1223. The second locomotive that it would have been mounted on after the 440 would have been an H10S 280 number 8619. These are the two numbers on the bell, so it is possible that these are the two locomotives that the bell was mounted on. The other possibility is that this bell could have been originally on a K2 Pacific 462 number 7175. This locomotive had the same number as the D10A 440 after it was scrapped, and then there is a EMD diesel that was owned by the Pennsylvania Railroad number 8619, and it is true that sometimes steam locomotive bells were installed on diesels by certain railroads. So it is possible it was installed on this EMD diesel after the 462 Pacific was scrapped, but it is not known either way for sure. I also own a replica of 1223's original builder plate. This was cast from the original builder plate.